I guess we'll call this meeting to order at 12:06. So call to order. And I guess we'll start off, first of all, with a Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the
republic which it stands,
nation
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And justice for all.
All right. So I'll go ahead. Ashley, you want to go ahead and start off with roll call?
Okay. So Adrian Trevino,
Present.
George Narvaez, Omar Gonzalez Longoria, present. Jose Angel Lopez, Arturo Tomás Benavides,
Present.
Elizabeth Alonso Villarreal,
present.
Robert Judd Gilpin. Some people are coming in. Okay, just saw Judd come in. Jose D. Gonzalez and Hector Cortez. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 present. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Would anybody like to make a motion for the absences, excused absences?
Motion to approve.
No more? Okay, second?
I second, Adrian.
Adrian? Outstanding. Okay, all in favor, aye. So excuse the absences?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right,
JD, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you ask Ashley to resend me the link? Because I can't, it won't go through. If she can just send it to me so I can join you by video.
Ashley, you're listening,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I'll go
Okay.
ahead and send the video right now. The
Okay,
link.
great. I'm gonna go with two things real quick so we can move forward. And would anybody like to make a motion, since we're gonna have to have some members leaving early today, to move the agenda items up so we can hear them first, and then move down towards the minutes and so forth?
I make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is that Liz?
Yes.
And second, anybody second?
I'll second it, Adrian.
Adrian, okay. Okay, we all in favor would like to move the agenda items forward?
Aye.
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 Nobody opposed? Okay, let's start. If you wouldn't mind, Jeff, would you mind, let's start with agenda action items first? So,
Yes, absolutely, Mr. Chairman. And then after that, like I said, if we could take maybe consideration for Mr. Benavides as well, the new city attorney, after the action item, so he could introduce himself to everyone here. But the first item,
Jeff,
yes,
real quick, I'd like to acknowledge, because I know I see we had some guests here as well, but Merck, I know that not everybody here, it's a privilege having Councilman out here so he can sit there and see actually in one of our live meetings. So Merck, thanks for being here and attending one of our meetings, man. Appreciate that, man.
Thank you,
Go ahead,
JD.
Justin.
Appreciate it. And thank you for all you do and chairing this committee. I know it's a huge commitment, and appreciate all of your efforts, because this is, at this point in time and in history, our airport is very, very important to us.
Yes, thank you.
so thank you, JD, and I echo that as well. Thank you, council member, for attending the meeting. The first action item is to consider a recommendation to mayor and city council to amend chapter 4 airport article 1 in general, section 415 airport parking of the code of ordinances on the city of Laredo, Texas, to amend the parking fees for parking of vehicles at the Laredo International Airport passenger terminal area. The following shall be the amended fees. Hours, 30 minutes. The hourly daily parking rate is free for the first 30 minutes. In the economy lot, the 1 hour would be free. 30 to 60 minutes in the hourly daily lot would be $2. For the economy lot, 1 to 2 hours would be $2. After 60 minutes in the hourly lot, it would be $1. After 2 hours in the economy lot, it would be $1. The daily max rate is $10 for the hourly daily parking lot rate. The daily max rate for the economy parking lot is $5 and providing for an effective date. So basically what this is it doesn't change the structure of the daily max rate. What it changes is the time frame for which fees are assessed. So what we have seen is, and I'll screen share here briefly. Ashley, you can stop sharing the agenda for the moment. And I'm going to screen share airports around our region. This parking structure, if everyone can see my screen, was started, when the restaurant was in operations to give free hours for people coming to the restaurant. With the restaurant being closed now, as we're starting to remodel, I think this is the perfect time for us to reassess our parking fee structure. What we're seeing now is people abusing the parking lot and using it for non-airport business. So they'll come, switch out a vehicle, go do whatever business they have that's unrelated to the airport, and then come get the vehicle back before it's out within the 3 hours. So they're using our card stock, they're using the facilities, but they're not paying anything to use it. So what you see on your screen here is similar structures. You can see, we were very generous comparative to airports in the region to where we had it. This would bring us in line, I think, to where we would be in the same standard as the majorities of the airports within our region. And when we look towards the terminal improvement program and revitalizing the concessions, we still, as the city, as the airport, hold the right, if we at that point want to have a program where we, similar to what the Outlook Mall does, where somebody's parking can be vouched out if they're actually visiting an establishment. So if we do something down the road with the restaurant, this doesn't tie our hands to go back and do that. But you can see the revenue projected here would improve. And really what this is to get people to stop abusing the lots with the 3 hour rule right now when they have no business at the airport. I would like to mention too, Mr. Chairman, that we do have Brad McAllister on the line from SP Plus, and they really took the load of putting this report together. So I don't know, Brad, if there's anything you want to add to the statements that I made.
Brad, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry about that. Thank you, Elsie. Yeah, sure. I'd love to say something. I think, this is something we had discussed really looking at doing even before we became the operator, and then really took a sort of harder look at it in January at the request of the airport. And, the goal here really is to get the fee structure for the parking customers at Laredo really more in line with what you see other airports doing. I do have a voucher program for a restaurant at my location that I manage at Billings Airport. They do have folks from the community come in and eat at that restaurant because it's a well-known restaurant and there's not a lot of great places to eat in town. So, and we do validate those customers. So in the future, if we do get a restaurant pre-security and we want to validate folks who just come to the airport to use that restaurant, that is not a problem. Very easy to do with the new equipment. But this does also help us optimize our revenue a bit as well and bring in some more revenue. I think not having the restaurant and having such a generous grace period really allowed us to miss out on some revenue that we could have been capturing. And I think it would make sense to capture that moving forward. But again, I agree with Jeff and the airport that now is not the time to really look at any adjustments to the maximum daily rate customers will be charged. This is specifically to address the very generous grace period as well as the incremental rate structure for the first day.
I have a comment, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Okay, so I know that we need to increase revenues. I mean, that's, we're a business and we need to look out for that. But as it was just mentioned, the structure for the maximum rate, you know, I'm in agreement, but looking at if you have 3 hours maximum right now of free time, and if you're experiencing that the people that they just go park and they don't do any business there, I would still allow at least 1 hour, because I read also that it would be a 1% increase, so it's not a whole lot. The last that are coming to you all, to, I don't know, the airlines, you know, somebody, but I think just having it at this point in time, once business starts picking up, you know, there might be delays on flights. And if you go past the 30 minutes, then you're going to have to pay, you know, and they're already using the airlines, you know, to do business. So that's just what I think. I'm not opposing the rates for the daily rates and all that, but for grace period, maybe 1 hour. And I mean, I know we do comparisons with other airlines, but sometimes, although the employments and all that are similar, there might be some other factors that we're not looking at. But you know, that's just what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I can understand that logic there. You know, what I will say, for when you look at the, like, exactly as you reference, you know, the 1% long term, I think what we see here is it's not the people that are coming to pick up are not necessarily using the lots for that function. It's the people that are using it to swap out vehicles that, you know, don't have necessarily business at the facility. So, you know, I think as we look at it, where we came comfortable with the half hour is, I don't think that greatly impacts the customers, the meeters and greeters. It's not really our operation today. And I think when you look at what we have here, it has allowed us to really target those individuals that aren't conducting business at the airport and using the facility for free.
Do you have airport police, don't you?
Yes.
So if it's the same people, if they're using the airport, it's because it's usually the same people that are using it that they really shouldn't be using it for. So I don't know if you have airport police that can monitor that more.
Well, it's really, I mean, at this point, there's no rule that says they can't, right? I mean, it doesn't say you have, you know, there's no ordinance that says you can't use the lot in that function. This would just be a way for us to deter them from using it without paying us money to do so. So yes, we do, but there's really no ordinance or anything we could come back on and say that somebody couldn't use the lot for that function.
I would also add too, Jeff, that the grace period for long term actually would be an hour then. So the half hour is just for short term. And yes, you're correct. You know, for the long term, you know, we'll keep the grace period at an hour, and you know, we would only gain maybe 1% in revenue. The real benefit for revenue capture happens in the short-term lot, where people are actually abusing the grace period. And we're looking at about 31% increase in revenue if we had this structure in place in December, for example.
And to that point, if I may, Mr. Chairman, your recommendation, Ms. Alonso, it is correct. We do have an hour that is being provided on the long term, which is, we're also asking to change the label as to help the passengers, because there's some confusion as to the name of the parking lot. It's called long term, so people that are flying for multiple days think that they have to park in long term, which in reality is we're wanting to change the name to economy parking lot, and they would have an hour for free there. So if needed be, they could park there to conduct either business at the airport or still provide that grace period. So we would still have that function available. So I think to your point, we would have that. Now, the rate itself, the maximum daily rate, we are not touching that. That is not something that we're bringing to consideration for changes. The rate actually is remaining the same, the daily rate.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a question.
Thanks for the information. I'm sorry.
I've got a question. Do you have any idea why somebody would come park for an hour or so at the airport and not be at the airport? What do they do? Any idea?
Yeah, I mean, we've sat out the lot and tried to watch this, and I think what it is people are swapping out vehicles. Now what that consists of, it's hard to say. So somebody will drop a car off, and then either somebody will come in a taxi cab and pick that car up, and just leave. So that's what we've been seeing. I know, Brad, you're out there more frequently. Have you seen anything? I don't know why I mean, obviously they're using us because it's a secured location. But once again, it's not a function of the facility. But Brad, I don't know if you want to speak to if you have any further as to why that happens.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not so sure, particularly for those folks that are, just trying to stay within the 3 hours. I do know a number of customers do leave their vehicles and they're picked up by another individual, simply because the airport provides a secure parking facility that, apparently is not that easy to find in Laredo. And I've had this discussion with Elsie a couple times as well. Which is fine. I think, we have the capacity for that, and we're monitoring the lots. But I do think, they should be able to, pay a fee if they would like to do that and use the security of the lot to park their vehicle. If they're, say, away on business on a drive with a colleague or something for a day. So,
How many? Is there a lot of activity like this? I don't know. I just go back to, we need to be friendly and airport friendly, but again, don't take advantage. But I mean, yeah, 3 hours, that was a lot of grace period, and I can understand, but I would change it to 1 hour and not 30 minutes. But that's just me by myself. The rest of the board can chime in.
Well, I think, Vice Chair, just real quick on that. I mean, do you see that we do have it, like Brad and Elsie pointed out, we do have that option still for individuals. So I think it does mix that, like you said, being a good partner within the community, but also, if you're using the facility. So there, in theory, you could do that. You would have access to a lot for an hour. I just put that to everybody's attention.
And if I may say a point, I think to what Mr. Gilpin was talking about as well, it's important to note that we want to provide the service, and because of that, we think that this will provide a higher level of customer service to our clients that are legitimately using it for airport business. Because if you have individuals that are coming in and parking in the short term, and it's taking away maybe those hard sought after frontage parking from a paying customer that's coming in and flying out. And if they're paying, a premium, they would like to have those spots. And so I think that encourages that we can still work with our community for their needs, but still be able to provide that high level of service to our airport clients. Now, we do provide, in addition to that, services to clients that come in and fly for extended periods of time. So we do have, for example, for the hunting season, we do have individuals that come in and they host their vehicles here ready to go. So when they come in from the north, from different parts of the country, they come in and actually have already a vehicle available for them, and they're paying their due parking fees, and it's actually a program that we've had on for years, and it's been working out pretty well. It encourages safety and security for those people that are coming in from out of town that maybe don't have a residence here in Laredo, but still want to have a secure location. And so all those things put into place, and the level of customer service that our management company now, SP Plus, here through Brad McAllister, is providing. I mean, we need to encourage that our fee structure complements what we're trying to do, especially as numbers move into the future, start to increase, that we have this available and still be able to provide that service.
Thanks a lot. And just to add, I know that back before we started out this COVID, that we did have some clients that come down, and you're right, they have the security that they would drop their vehicles and they feel a lot more comfortable leaving there. They'll even pay beyond the 3 hour time frame. But Liz brings up a good point. I know that there's still going to be, once we don't have the restaurant there right now, but once we do have the restaurant, we could validate to get them out, so they don't have to pay the additional fee if they stay beyond the hour. But once we do go back to some kind of normalcy, even us ourselves as board members that attend the meetings, our meetings usually last for an hour, so we're going to have to be provided some kind of validity, some kind of checkout, so we can go ahead and get out without having to pay the additional fee. So the 1 hour does make sense, especially on paperwork for both the airport and us. But I mean, just for consideration, hopefully that's move. We could sit there and talk on that a little later on, or maybe make an adjustment or based on a recommendation once we get the motion going. But I really feel that 1 hour would be a good valid point during that time frame to avoid having to give out those additional. I know that they used to give out STIPs if we stayed beyond 3 hour meetings, because I would do that a couple of times, and then we get not the free. You can just go out there without having to be charged. But still, I mean, it's just, I feel that's just to avoid having duplicate paperwork on both one side or the other. So that's just a good recommendation that is made on the hour time frame. So my humble thoughts, my humble opinion. So.
Elsie, could you put your previous slide up? I think there might have been a typo on it. The one with the charges. It was
Ashley, the agenda that has the one that has the box with the
a box with the rates. Yeah, I just saw, maybe it went by pretty quickly and I'm mistaken, but I thought I saw a typo on it. Just to make sure we all are talking about the same thing.
While Ashley's getting that, if I may, could you put some signage or something so that it will deter, folks from, if they're not using it for airport business? Is there something that could be done? I mean, and like I said, there's airport police. I mean, I don't know how many officers you have, but I think maybe if they start, I mean, or I don't know, is it who oversees the airport? Brad, I don't know if you all are there, or, I mean, it's, because if they're using it, and, but 3 hours, like I said, it's a lot of time. Yeah, you can take off and not worry about it, but
I would just say that, again, I don't think we want to discourage folks from using the lot for that purpose. We would just like them to, pay a fee for using the service and capture some of that, so we can, again, like Elsie said, we can monitor the spaces, make sure the premium spaces are free for customers who are actually flying. But also to capture that revenue. I mean, the folks are using spaces for a certain amount of time. The airport pays to rehabilitate pavement and signage and all that stuff. If they're using the lot, I think they should pay something.
And maybe the premium parking, maybe leave it for, passengers who are leaving, out of town, like was mentioned, the hunting trips and everything. Well, I'll let Mr. Gilpin, and then I'll make a motion.
Yeah. It seemed to me like the ones and the twos on the fees are backwards on both columns. It seems like after 60 minutes would be, or is it's hourly rate?
It's hourly, yeah. So every hour after the 60 minutes is only, it's an $1 increment.
Gotcha.
And there you see on the economy parking lot, the 1 hour is completely free.
Gotcha.
It only starts after hour 1 and forward.
Gotcha.
Then you have a
And
charge.
then obviously capped at the daily max for that first day, obviously,
Exactly.
and every day thereafter.
I get it. Thank you.
Yeah, and by all means, we do encourage, if people want to use the parking lot because they feel is more safer, and they maybe want to go shopping, and they wish to leave their car here. I know we do have a shopping center across the street. We have been seeing people going shopping there as well. It works out good, but there is a cost to operate everything to operate all the airport police, operate the parking, maintaining of the parking. We have been doing substantial improvements to the parking lot. Some areas have been resurfaced. We're looking right now, assessing putting all new lighting on the parking lot. We have been doing improvements as well and repairs. And obviously, we also have hired a management company to help us to provide a higher level customer service, which now they're able to provide, on-site tire, like if you get a flat tire, they can go help you out, or if your battery needs to jumpstart. So all those things taken into consideration is if you need services at an airport or if you need a secure parking lot, we are open for business. But there is a cost associated with that, and we just
How much revenue do you all do we do, like on a monthly basis, revenue from parking? And how much are you projecting? So right now, what is the revenue that's coming in for parking?
So right now, Jeff, if you can put up that.
If you want to show that.
Estimate, just you don't have to give me like exact, but just.
Yeah, it was actually, I think what I had here, Vice Chair, so on the bottom here, what you can see in the green section of the lower of this Excel file, what the actual revenue was for December versus what we feel would be for proposed. And to your point earlier with the 1% and the long-term lot, that's where the proposed change and revenue would be for these two.
With 31% in the short-term parking, if we were to make these changes.
And I think too, if you look towards the rate structure we've proposed here, which is the recommendation, it is still exceeds anything that we're seeing within our region, because we do have the 1 hour grace period in long term. And so I think when we talk about, being a good steward to the community, if there was a comment about us as a facility versus, people within the region, we still exceed what other airports are doing with this current rate structure. So I think it strikes a balance there.
Jeff, can we provide, I know because taking into consideration, there's really not a lot of travel going on right now, taking into consideration the circumstances. Can we get numbers for January of last year, maybe even February of last year?